Be sure to check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for plenty more Royal Caribbean news, information, fun, advice, everything you need to have a great Royal Caribbean cruise is waiting for you at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for joining us here on this Monday. I know many of you are busy with weekend plans. And of course, we also take a big, big thank you to all the people who've served our countries, plurally, and obviously gave the ultimate sacrifice for that so that we can go on Royal Caribbean cruises. It's important to always remember that fact. And so thank you. I know I want to get things started off, and we're going to answer as many Royal Caribbean cruise questions as I possibly can, starting with the most important question. How many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Get your countdown in chat. We'll count down together. I've got less than 3 weeks on my next cruise. Very excited for that on Navigator of the Seas. We had a number of super chats coming in before the live broadcast began. Thank you. I'm very appreciative to each and every one of you. We'll start off with our first question from Ed Vira. Ed, thank you for the super chat. Ed wrote, final stop on next week's last cruise is Victoria, British Columbia. Do we need to file our customs info on the ArriveCan website before we're allowed off the ship in Victoria? And basically the ArriveCan, is my understanding with cruise ships, you need to do it before the cruise, so that way you just have it and you can provide proof that you have it to get going. So do it before you have the cruise and you should be good to go. I believe you can do it up to a couple days before you actually arrive in Victoria. So it's a good idea to take care of that in advance. That way you are ready to go there. Desiree Hall. Desiree, thank you for the super chat. Z is Me has a super chat as well. Z is Me says, me and my cabin mate have different check-in times. Can they check in with me since I have the earlier spot? The answer is probably, but not necessarily. It kind of depends on the person you speak with at the terminal. Certainly, you could. I recommend Z is Me to use the fullback strategy, if you're familiar with football, in which the fullback clears a path of the defenders in front of them, and the running back comes in behind them, and obviously tries to score the touchdown. So you would be the fullback, your friend would be the running back, and you kind of just basically say, "Oh, I'm here. My time is 11:30, and we're together," that kind of thing. I mean, that probably will work. But theoretically, possibly no. By the way, I don't know if Desiree, if I said thank you, but Desiree, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Arthea has another super chat. Due to the recent Scary Storm incident with Carnival, do you think Royal Caribbean will now replace the recently retired Mr. Van Fleet? Doesn't seem like it. Well, actually, I think it does look like it. I don't know if you saw on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. So let me back up for a second. If you're not familiar with it, Royal Caribbean's former chief meteorologist, James Van Fleet, announced, a week or two ago now, saying that he has left Royal Caribbean. Didn't provide many details as to why or how or what. Not that it's any of our business anyway. But he's no longer with Royal Caribbean. But since then, Royal Caribbean last week posted a new job posting for a chief meteorologist. Now, a job posting doesn't necessarily mean they're going to hire anybody necessarily, but hey, they do have a job posting out there, so quite possibly, yeah. I mean, I was a big fan of James Van Fleet. I thought he was a tremendous asset. I mean, people would point out, well, Matt, other cruise lines don't have meteorologists, and they're just fine. The Carnival situation notwithstanding now as an exhibit. But I just, it made me feel better. And more importantly, I thought Mr. Van Fleet really brought something to the table. His personality, his way of explaining things to guests, I thought was really, really good. It wasn't super dumbed down. It wasn't too high level. It was that right combination of facts, science, and also admitting sometimes he didn't know yet, but more information was coming. Anyway, Arthea, thank you for the super chat. Alex L, thank you for the super chat. Alex wants to know, do I need tender tickets for Santorini and Mykonos? How do I get them? Can I select a certain time, or is it just whenever I get off the ship? So typically when Royal Caribbean does tendering, and thank you, Alex, for the super chat. Typically when Royal Caribbean does tendering, they will have, hopefully, both gangways open, and they'll basically prioritize people with a shore excursion, like through Royal Caribbean, that is. Those people you meet on board the ship, usually in the theater, and they reserve certain tenders for those people on tours. And then they have a whole other set of tenders for everybody else. But if you're doing something on your own, whether it's a tour or just walking around, you don't need to actually get tickets. On some ships, they actually do. They don't need tickets. On some ships, they actually do times to help stagger people a little bit more. But I'm not sure what ship you're on. But if you're on a smaller ship like a Vision class ship, they might not actually do that. So you should plan on essentially going down to the stairwell near the gangway and queuing up and waiting your turn. Mark Sexton, thank you, Mark, for the super chat. Going on Oasis in 4 more days. Are the WoW bands waterproof? Can we go on the water slides or swim with them? The answer to all your questions is yes. These are, I've got one out so that way you could demonstrate it. But these are the RFID WoW bands. They're silicone. They're fully enclosed. I don't know if you can see it. You can't. You have to trust me on it. But the chip is in here and it's totally enclosed. So yeah, totally waterproof. No problem at all. You can totally do that. And if you're wondering, they're $9.95. You buy one, you can reuse them on future cruises, and you can get them at guest services once you get on board the ship. Michael Bond. Michael, thank you for the super chat. 2 groups going on Wonder of the Seas. We both have the dining package. Does someone from each group need to set up reservations, or can one group? There's obviously a typo there, or a missing text. But basically, yeah, one person can do them all, Michael. I've done this many times. I'm usually that guy who's been tasked with going to get reservations for everybody else. But yeah, they don't care who's making the reservations. All you're going to need, Michael, is the other people's stateroom number and names. That's it. Pretty easy. So one person can make reservations for everybody. AD wants to know any tips for killing time in Seattle on Labor Day, waiting for a return flight. One of my favorites now, honestly, is to get a day pass to a hotel. There's a number, dayuse.com, D-A-Y-U-S-E, dayuse. You get a day pass to a hotel near or at the airport and hang out there, watch TV, take a nap, take a shower, order lunch, take it easy, right? And that way, when you're ready, you go down to the airport. I just did that when I was in New York, waiting for my flight to Finland. And I did that again in London when I was waiting for my flight over to back to the United States on my recent European cruise. It's really, really great. I just like that because some cities. Listen, you can go do other cool things. You can go to the mall. There might be some sightseeing you can do, but after like a week of cruising, maybe you just want to take a break. Maybe you just want to relax a little bit. So that works as well. Let's see here. Michelle wants to know, do you want to take your kids to yard now that you've been? Absolutely, 100%. I wanted to take them the first time. School calendar was an issue, but I would love to. I think they would love it as well. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Absolutely, 100%. Josh Carruthers coming in with an epic super chat. Woo! 14 days till the super secret, not so secret pre-group cruise that Tony did invite you on. Yeah, tell me about it. And 18 days till the actual Royal Caribbean Blog group cruise. That is my countdown. 18 more days. Packing has commenced. Awesome. Josh, thank you so much for your generosity as always. And yeah, dude, I'm excited even if you're going on a cruise I'm not invited to. So. Let's see. Mr. Shadow, hello. Tony Chiofi, hello. Astro Fox, what's going on? Welcome. Glad to have all you guys here. Alex wants to know, how do I get married on Royal Caribbean? Well, you're going to need someone to get married to. Once you figured that part out, that's on you. You want to contact the Royal Caribbean Weddings Department. There's a weddings department you go through in order to book all those things. Joseph, my friend, can't wait to see you on board Navigator of the Seas coming up in just 18 more days. Nice. Alexandra wants to know, is the chat feature on Royal Caribbean app free? It is indeed. Yes. Alex Burnham. Alex, thank you for the super chat. Alex, I don't see a message from you. Might just be a super chat, in which case, thank you. Oh, there it is. I found, nope, that's a different that's Andrew, not Alex. I don't see a message from you, Alex, but thank you, my friend, if that's the case. The Teresa McChain, thank you for the super chat. 18 because we weren't invited on the Secret Group cruise. Man, I lose a lot of sleep. I lose a lot of sleep because of not being invited on that one. Anyway, thank you, Teresa. Appreciate you. Dustin wants to know, are the excursions the same at Coquille for all ships? Yes. I can't think of something that'd be offered on one sailing, but not another. Here's Alex's question. Thank you, Alex, again for the super chat. How do we get married in Royal Caribbean? You contact the groups department. Royal Caribbean has a groups department, and not the groups. You go through the weddings department, and the weddings department has packages that you pick, Alex. There are various packages you can choose from. You can do a very inexpensive, small, intimate experience in which it's just you and whoever you're getting married to, and you get married on the ship. And you can do obviously extravagant things in which there you have venues rented and you have all sorts of add-ons, things of that nature. Kind of just like if you go to a hotel and want to get married there on land, similar concepts, I should say. So anyway, the Royal Caribbean Weddings Department is whom you want to contact. What's interesting about the Wendy's environment is in the last year or so, Royal Caribbean switched vendors that they work with. And for a time, it was almost advisable not even to waste your time. It just was not going to happen. I'm not sure if that has changed or not. So I want to make that clear. They may have fixed it, maybe great now. I don't know. But they really, since COVID, they had some issues with the department. Anyway, they switched providers, and I'm not sure where it stands currently. Let's see here. Brian Pietro. Brian, thank you for the super chat. My first cruise is 3 days, Liberty of the Seas with Debbie and Jimmy. Thanks for all your information. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Hope you have a great time with the aforementioned Debbie and Jimmy. Liberty of the Seas is a fun ship. Definitely a good one to go on. You'll have a great time sailing out of Cape Liberty in Bayonne. Navigator of the Seas. Ooh. I love the water slides because you have those particular slides on any other ship. I do like that quite a bit. And the Bamboo Room, Playmakers, is really good. So I like maybe, man, I guess I would pick one thing. I'll say the water slides, but it's not the end all be all necessarily. It's not one thing, but that's top of my list, certainly. It kind of stands out, if you will. DT Cruiser. Hi, Matt. I'm looking forward to booking my very first Royal Caribbean cruise. What are your thoughts of Vision of the Seas? It would be ideal for me since I'm 1.5 hours from the port. And certainly, since you live in that area, that's a great reason to book it. The thing for you, DT Cruiser, you say your first Royal Caribbean cruise. You didn't say necessarily your first cruise. Vision of the Seas is one of the smallest, oldest ships in the fleet. That's not a bad thing, but you have to understand what the ship entails and what it has and what it does. That is DT. A lot of people who are new to Royal Caribbean, they see the TV commercials, they see the blog posts I write, and they're like, wow, Wonder of the Seas looks amazing. I'm going to book Vision of the Seas. They're not the same. So as long as you're okay with the features that Vision does have and it doesn't have, then it's totally fine. But just be crystal clear about that because, it doesn't have a Royal Promenade. It doesn't have Aqua Theater. It doesn't have a full Broadway show. It doesn't have water slides. It's a smaller, older ship. It doesn't have all the whiz-bang cool things that you're going to expect on newer ships. But that might be okay. Maybe you've cruised before and, hey, this is your first Royal Caribbean cruise, but not your first cruise. Totally fine. It's a good, relaxing, classic cruise experience. Nothing wrong with that. And the best part is that last part of the sentence right there, because you're only an hour and a half from the port. It's not bad at all. Scott wants to know, does it need local currency in Cozumel and Costa Maya? Nope. US dollars, totally fine. Dylan coming in with an epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Dylan. Hey, Matt, love the show podcast. I'm going on Wonder of the Seas in October for my honeymoon to St. Thomas and St. Martin. We're doing a private keep tour in St. John's, but nothing as of yet in St. Martin. Any good ideas? Hold on, I gotta read the rest of the message here. How are the taxi services there? St. Martin has pretty good taxi services, Dylan. There's taxis almost anywhere you're going to go that has tourists around there. So if your goal, and this is something I usually recommend to people, is to do kind of a potpourri day. And, I would say in St. Martin, I would recommend maybe take a taxi first and go to Maho Beach. And that's where the airplanes land, right over the beach. It's that really famous spot. Watch an airplane or two. There's a bar right there. But it's good for like an hour or two, not the whole day. Then there'll be plenty of taxis around. Hop in a taxi and go to Grand Case. It's on the French side of St. Martin. And there's great beaches over there. There's food, there's restaurants. You get lunch, you go to the beach, and then you can take a taxi back to the port. Some people go straight back to the ship. If you really had more time or more inclination, you go to Phillipsburg and do a little bit of shopping before you walk back to the ship. I would love that, Mr. Shadow. I think it's a great idea. I hope he does. I would love to see Royal Caribbean and Jameson Fleet come back together again. Not sure it's in the cards. You know how it is with these things. I mean, we don't know all the details, but I just have a feeling. I don't know, but I would love for that to be the case. Athena wants to know, I know they're only doing once a day cabin service, but if you have the couch converted to a bed, do they fold that up and let it out each day, or do you have to leave it as a bed for the duration? They can fold it up for you. So while they're not going to service your whole cabin, you can call your stateroom attendant and they'll come fold it or unfold it, whichever you need for that particular day. William Mom, thank you, William. I hope I said your last name correctly. Thank you for the super chat. 111 days till Allure of the Seas. Thanks for all your help and advice. I can't wait. Does the key give me priority on boarding on embarkation day? It does indeed. Yes, it does. That is correct. That is one of the certainly one of the benefits of the key. Thank you, William, for the super chat. Tyler wants to know: did they have the crepe station at the back of the Windjammer on the Anthem? They did. I'm not sure if it was all the way in the back, but I did see it on a number of occasions in the main part of the Windjammer. So yes, absolutely. Fishing with Megan McDonald. Thank you for the super chat. I have 5 days till my family and I go on Wonder in a 2-bedroom aqua theater suite. Very nice. If we eat almost every meal in our room, do we feel that $1,000 tip is good? I mean, that's very generous. Very generous. Let me put it this way. Assume your name is Megan. There is no wrong amount to tip, and $1,000, even for I don't know how many people are in your for that cabin, that's a lot. I think I would. I'm not the arbiter of what you should or shouldn't tip. I don't know. I'm not a. I'm not like I have no. You know, I'm not a person of any significance in that matter. I would just simply tell you I think you're on the higher end of the tipping scale, quite frankly. Not that that's bad, but certainly something that, I just want to make it clear that it's very generous. Also, any special fun events you suggest? Yes, ask for a party on your balcony. That's a fun thing to do. You get like there's certain things like really special things you can do. Party is one of them, which you have like a bartender come out to your balcony. So that can be really fun. And if you have friends on board who are not in the suite, they can come to the party, which is really neat. So yeah. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Will you answer questions from us peasants once you are Pinnacle? 180%. Yes, absolutely. Leor, thank you for the super chat. Good to see you here. Rhapsody tomorrow. Should I start looking for a babysitter for my kids so I can join a 20 to 25 European group cruise? Make it happen. Yes, but you can bring your kids too, Leor. I remember I bring my kids. There are going to be other kids on board. Don't feel bad about bringing children on a group cruise. We welcome them. Oh, I was like, never mind. I heard the vacuum cleaner going. I'm like, what is that noise? Anyway, yeah, totally. That's totally fine. Yes, but we'd love to have you on there. John wants to know: do you honestly feel Icon will be 100% functional with everything open on inaugural? No, and that's pretty much the case, John. With any inaugural, that's rarely the case that everything is 100%. So the answer to your question is: do I feel honestly will be 100% functional with everything open on inaugural? No. And anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. I mean, that's every inaugural there's always something missing. Maybe it's one or two things, maybe it's more, but I would not expect that to be the case. So I want to be realistic with you, John, what to expect there. And if that is a problem, you should defer your cruise or book a second cruise, one of the two. Let's see here. Next question. Oh, Mark has going back to that question earlier about what to do on Labor Day in Seattle. The Bumbershoot Festival at Seattle Center, huge music festival. There you go. Also, Connie says Seattle has the luggage valet service. Take your luggage to the airport so folks can be tourists. That's another option as well. So there you go. Oh man, how to pronounce this name? Yulia. Hope I said that right. Jackson, thank you for the super chat. I always watch your videos after the fact, so I'm happy to be live with you all now. Oh, thank you, Eulalia. Sorry for mispronouncing it the first time. Eulalia. Thank you for the super chat. Beautiful name, and I'm so glad you were here live as well. If this is your first time catching me live, like you maybe watch the replays and the recaps, that's totally fine. But if it's your first time being here live, type first. And if you've been here before, you can make fun of Smokey Bandit. Slew Dog wants to know: do the WoW bands come with a name on it? No, but there are different colors. Yes, you can get up to 4 colors. There's blue, white, black, and yellow. Sorry, I'm just catching up on where I am right now. All right, we're good on this. Next question. We got a lot of super chats. Holy moly, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Mono8080. Thank you for the super chat. By the way, is Mono8080, is your username like a computer reference, like an old school computer, like either a modem or a old build of a PC? Anyway, what's the best time to cruise to Perfect Day? Thinking about it for next year, but would really be bummed if we skip due to weather. Not January. January, not that there's any guarantees out there, but January tends to be the windiest month, and that tends to be more of an issue. I would say March is a great time. Spring break, quite frankly. It's warm, but not hot. Yeah, honestly, March or April are great times to go. And it's not hurricane season either. Jeff Hansen. Jeff, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Jeff. Just got a Navigator of the Seas today. It was awesome. Glad to hear that. 14 days to Quantum to Alaska. Nice. Get home, do some laundry, get caught up on working bills, and then be like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going back on vacation again. I'm out of here. Love it. Dave Dave, thank you for the super chat. Dave, I am looking for your message. Why is my vacuum cleaner over here? Vacuum cleaner, I told you not to come in this room. Hold on. The vacuum cleaner's here. Go away. Yeah. That's not where you're supposed to be. Go back and end task. Go away. Thank you. I told it to vacuum the living room, not my office. This is awkward. One of us has to leave. Okay, vacuum cleaner's backing out. Dave O, thank you for the super chat. Dave, I don't see a message from you, Dave, but thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Allison. Thank you for the super chat. What exactly is a President's Cruise? It's essentially a Royal Caribbean cruise in which Royal Caribbean invites its cruise fans to come on board and sail with, well, the president of the company, Michael Bailey, along with some other things. It's basically a special, like, Royal Caribbean superfan cruise. It's open to everybody. I didn't know what my sailing was this year. Oh, yeah. So basically, there are going to be special events on board your cruise. So it doesn't matter that you're not a super fan. There'll be a lot of like Royal Caribbean super fans, a lot of matching T-shirts, things of that nature, a lot of special events, and special giveaways as well. So, yeah. Jersey Dog, when reusing the WoW bands, do you have to reactivate? Yes, you have to go to guest services and reactivate them. It's easy to do right there. No problem at all. A-Dub wants to know, can you camp out in your car for the night in the cruise parking lot? Oh, again, no, but I would say, why don't you just camp out in Miami Airport if you're going to do that? They have security at the port. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I think you're better off if you're going to camp out anywhere at the airport, or you know, I don't know if there's like a day use you could get that early. Probably not. Usually they start like at 9 o'clock in the morning. But I would just hang out in the airport or something, or get a hotel room. And yeah, you're only there for like 7 or 8 hours, but hey, to me, it's better than camping out in your car. But that's just me. Hawker Tech, thank you for the super chat. 4 more days till Alaska on Ovation of the Seas. Enjoy it. I love Alaska. And by the way, if you haven't figured it out already, this will be the slowest week of your life. It will take absolutely forever. Steve wants to know what happened to my big microphone. I actually have even a bigger microphone, but it's over here now. I got a shotgun microphone, which there it is. It's giant. It basically it does a better job. That way, if I move around, you can still hear me, and it's not blocking the view of my beautiful face and everything around me. So I thought it was time to change it up right there. Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And Patty McDonough, thank you for the super chat. What's going on Spectrum in August? How different is this Asian cruise as opposed to US based? On Spectrum, there are going to be some noticeable differences, primarily the venues. There are certain specialty restaurants that don't exist anywhere else in the fleet, like Szechuan Red. In fact, the entire suite aspect is totally different than with what you're going to find over in the US. There'll be more casino space than in the US or anywhere else for that matter. So some noticeable difference, not major, still Royal Caribbean, but you're going to notice some venues that don't exist elsewhere, as well as probably more of a focus on gaming than bars, if you will. So, hope that makes sense. What's the best beach at Coco Key? The one you happen to be at. They're all great. There's advantages to all of them, but they're all great. There isn't one Alexandria that's a real dud or anything like that. So, just my advice also, Alexandria, is hop around. Start at one and then go to another one. Check that one out. There's no reason you can't do that. Michael O'Brien. Michael, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Great work, Matt. Thanks. Oasis in 80 some odd days. Nice. Well, thank you, my friend. Good luck with that cruise coming up very, very soon. I think this was, we missed this. Yes. So, Jonathan, thank you for the super chat earlier. My family will be on Oasis in July. I wanted to do special dinner together. There's 13 of us. Which of the special restaurants would be able to accommodate us? Not many. I don't even know if any can do a table of 13. Usually, most tables max out around 10 or so, maybe 12. I honestly don't know off the top of my head which do. More than likely, you're going to have to split up with like 7 and 6, and they can put the two tables very close to each other. So it's basically the same difference. But I'm not honestly sure that there is one that can handle exactly 13. Um, yeah. So, Carrie, tonight at midnight, my first Royal Caribbean Cruise Oasis online check-in opens. Nice. Very exciting. Getting closer. Love that. Lance, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Lance. I will reach platinum on my solo cruise in August, and then we're taking a 7-day in November. How will I get my pin? Thanks for all the helpful advice. What is supposed to happen is you should get your pin in your cabin waiting for you, probably on your excuse me, November cruise. But if you don't, go to the loyalty ambassador on board, and they can give that to you. Mark wants to know recommendations of tours to do in Nassau. Resort. Well, they're not a tour, but resortforaday.com is what I usually do in Nassau. If you really mean like a tour, like I want to go see things on a tour, I don't have a good one, unfortunately. Jonathan again with the super chat. Jonathan, thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mike Newell, you don't like my new microphone? Come on, man. You should be a fan of this one, although it does have a lot more. Maybe I should bring an audio engineer in here to fine tune the EQ balance and reverb and things. But look, nothing's in front of me and you can hear me. I'll get to your super chat later. I just saw it pop up on my screen. Jason Dawson. Jason, thank you for the super chat. It's an epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, Jason. Hi, Matt. As always, thanks for what you and your team does. What are your thoughts on the beach bungalow at Columbus Cove at Labadee? I think they're great. I think the only issue with Columbus Cove in general, this doesn't mean the bungalow, is that you have to usually go through the artisan market. It can be a little jarring, but once you're there, it's a great beach. It's the least crowded beach. The bungalows are great. They're big. I would call them a poor man's cabana, but they're honestly the only difference is you have instead of having 3 walls, you have 2.5 walls. I mean, it's basically the same exact experience. I think it's a great choice. So, Jason, I would definitely recommend them. I think you did well with that one. Let's see here. Kevin, traveling with 2 teens, Chill Island or South Beach, or visit both? I mean, the answer is probably visit both. I would say South Beach to start with. And if they love it, just stay there. And if they don't, you go to Chill Island. But there's more to do in South Beach. There's more of a vibe there, if you will. So I think they'll like South Beach better. But I don't know, maybe your teens don't like any of that kind of stuff. Scary wants to know, will you wear the infamous Pinnacle badge when you earn it? I'm going to go on record right now, everybody. And I mean this. Absolutely not. 100% you'll never see me wear a Pinnacle badge. I am very happy to get to Pinnacle. I think it's great, the benefits that Royal Caribbean does for its top tier members of Pinnacle, but I don't need to wear a badge on the cruise ship. It tells you I'm Pinnacle. That's my personal choice. Anyone else does it, more power to them. But personally, I've never saw the appeal of it, and so I will not be wearing one. But yeah, you all can know in the back of your head that I'm Pinnacle, if it matters to you. James Johnson wants to know, do you know how many days to get your refund when you cancel it and rebook? It depends on your bank, but usually right around 5 to 7 business days. I think Royal Caribbean has a more official number, James. They may tell you much longer than that, and it may be the case. I've usually had pretty good luck where, it comes back within about a week or so, 7 to 10 days, something like that. But, it's just one of those situations where the banking system is what it is. It takes a little while. Jay Maymon, thank you for the super chat. I'm going on my first 3-day cruise on Navigator in August. What should I focus on in those 3 days to get the best value? Good question. I mean, see, here's what I would say. I'm going to tell you why I'm wrong. I'm going to start for the answer. My answer to your question is you should focus on doing as much as you can on board the ship. The things the cruise ship brings to you, the events, the activities, water slides, trivia, love and marriage game show, opportunities to meet other guests. Like you want to be part of the fun, part of that cruise experience. And then I'll tell you why that's what I just told you is terrible advice, and that is a cruise is what you make of it. Some people will tell you, Jay Maymon, that go sit in your room and take a nap every day and just hang out and but enjoy not being at home and not being at work. There isn't a right or wrong way, but if your ideas get the best value in the sense of time for your money and things for your money, things to do for your money, I should say. And I think, obviously take advantage of the activities. Read the cruise compass every day. Look through the app. Look for opportunities for new events that are on there. But also, if you find that you get to 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you're feeling run down, you really could use a nap, but you have this FOMO feeling where you're, oh gosh, I'm missing out on everything. That's the reason to book another cruise. Anybody who cruises a lot, people that are Diamond Plus, Pinnacle, they will tell you there's more cruises you can book. You can't do it all in one cruise anyway. But do what you can, do what you want to do, and book another cruise to be able to do the rest. So, we got a lot of first timers here. Jason and Fly River and Uba and Stacy and Deborah and James and Aura. It's not everybody, obviously. I can only show as many people, but thank you guys. Thanks for being here. Susan Westfall. Susan, so quick story. I'm not even going to read her message yet. I'm just going to tell you this real quick. Susan was on my Anthem of the Seas. I've cruised with Susan many times before, but I cruised with Susan on Anthem of the Seas, and she is one of the nicest people in the world. Real pleasure to cruise with. Anyway, Susan, thank you for the super chat. Never had to reserve a show before. I want to see Mommy on Allure. How or when do I reserve it? On the app or once on board? On the app, once on board. Oh, actually, no. Sorry. I swear this is water in here. You can usually book it before the cruise via the website 45 days before the cruise. Keep in mind, though, you could book it once you get on board the ship, but my advice is to do it once it opens up via the website, the Cruise Planner website. You should be able to book it over there. It's pretty easy. It's like booking anything else, there'll be $0 charge, and you're good to go. Can you please explain the WOW band? Basically, you use it in lieu of or in conjunction with, you use it in conjunction with your CPass card, not in replacement or in lieu of your CPass card. So it's just instead of, you could use it either way. You go to order a drink, you go to open your stateroom door, you can use your WOW band or your CPass card, doesn't matter. This does cost extra, $9.95. You buy it once and then you can reuse it for as many cruises as you like. They can reprogram it and get services. The only thing you cannot use this for is for getting off the ship. So disembarkation in a port or at the end of the cruise, you need your physical CPass card. Let's see here. No black eyeshadows this week. That's true. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that was the impetus for me to get rid of the other. I still have it. It's sitting on my desk, but it's been neutered. Does Allure this season WOW bands? Yes. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Sorry. Man, I am really good at answering questions and then taking it back. No, it does not yet. Oasis does. Allure does not. James S., thank you for the super chat. I'll be on Jewel in 164 days. Its ports are Bermuda overnight. It ports in Bermuda overnight. What's the latest passengers to get off the ship? Anytime. There is no curfew, James. You can come and go when you please. You want to get up at 3 a.m.? I don't know why you'd want to because there's nothing to do in Bermuda at 3 a.m. But you could absolutely do that. There is no curfew. Come and it's just like a floating hotel, basically, at that point. Hawker Tech, thank you for the super chat. Been to Alaska before. This will be, I think, our 8th cruise to Alaska on I think this will be our 8th cruise to Alaska on Royal Caribbean. We usually go on Radiance before some on Ovation. Oh, cool. Well, you know what? The nice thing about Ovation, obviously, is you have a lot more to do on board the ship. Being a bigger ship, more amenities. So when you have your sea days, or you get back to the ship in the evening, there'll be more of a variety of activities and things to do over there. Brian, thank you for Byron, thank you for the super chat. First cruise on Liberty in 3 days. Debbie just missed the first super chat. Give her a hard time. What? Who's Debbie and what does she do? Well, whoever you are, Debbie, I'm supposed to give you a hard time. But I think, let's be face it, you're probably right, and Byron's just being mean to you. Mr. Mike Newell, thank you for the super chat. Mike doesn't like my microphone. Listen, man, this is cutting. I don't know if it's cutting edge, but this is the next evolution of microphones right here. I'm just saying. Jules wants to know, would you recommend Icon of the Seas for me and my 12-year-old son? Do you think it's too big? I would definitely recommend it for you and your 12-year-old son, and I don't think it's too big. There is no such thing as too big. I really don't. I really believe that. I don't see. It's not. It's kind of like saying, well, I don't know if it's the same. I was gonna say, like, if your town, have you been to every single street in your town? Does that matter? Like, you haven't seen it all. Like, you just take advantage of what you want to take advantage of, and ignore the rest. We did Odyssey, and that was great. Considering Wonder or Icon next year, if you can do Odyssey, you can do Icon. They're big ships, lots to do on there. There'll be a lot for your 12-year-old son and for you to enjoy as well. New ships, Jules, I generally think are really good for um, the, certainly for families and for kids, but also for you as well. Royal Caribbean really wants Icon to be more than just, if you're looking at Icon, it's all for the kids. No, there are things for the kids, but there's plenty to do for adults as well. And the idea is that Royal Caribbean, if you notice the marketing, Royal Caribbean is calling, it's the family cruise, the ultimate family cruise. Family. And family doesn't mean kids. I mean, it does mean kids, but it means also other people as well. And so while there are a lot of things for kids to do on board, including your 12-year-old son, there's also a lot of things for you to do as well. And that's a really cool thing. Let's see here. Wu-Tang Life, does Royal Caribbean have a singles bar? They do not. They do not. How does the coffee card work? Basically, you buy the card and you get a punch card. And so for every drink you get, they punch a hole in it. And there you go. Daniel Weiss, thank you for the super chat. Hey Matt, selling on Oasis of the Seas June 2nd, going with a group of 10 people, 20 to 25 years old. What is a must do for a group of our size that age? Actually, there is a new program called Hyperlink, Daniel. You'll see it in the cruise planner. It's called Hyperlink, and they are events specifically designed for people between the age of 18 and 23, I believe. Now, obviously, the 24 and 25-year-olds may be too much for them, but that's a good way to meet other people around your age group. That could be something really cool to do for your age group on board. So, Daniel, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Larry. See, Larry gets it, Mike Newell. How come you don't get it, Mike? Come on. JP, thank you for the super chat. Obligatory ahoy from Oasis of the Seas. Shout out to Fox at MEI Travel. JP, thank you for the super chat, and thank you for supporting our awesome sponsors at MEI Travel, and I hope you have a great time on Oasis. I am very, very jealous. Cheryl says, with regard to the menu change in the dining room, how are allergies now accommodated? I need to be gluten-free and only see veganism in the pictures content created post. There's still a gluten-free option in there. When you sit down, Cheryl, before you can even ask for it, they're going to ask, does anybody have any allergies or special dietary requests? Bam, you'll be good to go over there. So no worries at all, Cheryl. They're very, very accommodating for that. Let's see here. Next question is from Justin. Hey, Matt. 6 days till Allure of the Seas, and it's a surprise trip for my wife for her first cruise. Just want to say thank you for all your tips and advice. I feel like I already know my way around the ship thanks to your ship tours. That is awesome. So glad to hear that. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate your very generous super chat. And more importantly, I'm very happy to hear that you're very ready and prepared for your first Royal Caribbean cruise, or at least your first cruise on Allure of the Seas. I think you're going to love it. It is awesome. Let's see here. I will not wear the pin. I will not wear that shirt. But thank you. Appreciate it. It's the thought that counts. And Whipple, thank you for the super chat. 118 days to Allure. How many days of free internet do we get in a grand suite? Allure of the Seas for the duration of your cruise. One package for everybody in your cabin. That's on Allure because it's the Royal Suite class that you get that. So because you're Sky class, that's why that works there. And hope that makes sense. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. JC, first time I'm going on a Royal Caribbean. Change our itinerary right after final payment. The reason Royal gave us for the change is a better experience. What does that mean? What happened? I'd have to have more details to be able to answer your question. I mean, itinerary changes are not uncommon. They're not unheard of. They can happen for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of logistics involved. Again, I don't have the exact information as to why because I don't know what ship date. You have to see the whole entire letter, quite frankly, to probably. And even then, in some cases, you're guessing as to why, but you still have a great time on board. You really will. Let's see. Jason Dawson. Jason, thank you for the super chat. I think the new mic is great. Well, Mike, what do you have to say now? Oh, by the way, you can still hear me because it works from over here and over here and over here and over here. And you can't see it. Magic. Pilar. Hey man, I haven't seen you in a little bit. Haven't been to the Yucatan. What's the best thing to do there? Are you going to Progresso? I'm not sure. Yucatan is an entire region. It's like saying I'm going to Scandinavia. What should I do there? Well, is that Norway or Finland? In this case, are you going to Progresso? Are you going to Cozumel? I think you're probably going to Progresso. Mayan ruins are definitely the thing to do over there if it's Progresso. Are irons and steamers allowed on a cruise? Nope, they are not. Tony, it's your first time here today. I'm not sure that really counts, Tony. Chris Jones, thank you for the super chat. We have a booking in July on Voyager of the Seas. Will the ship be worth it to travel on? I love burgers and great food. I mean, I can't make you any promises. I don't know. I don't really know you at all. But more than likely, the answer is yes. Cruises. There's a lot of people in this chat right now who will tell you the answer is probably yes. It's not just me saying that. I mean, it's me saying it verbally, but you know what I mean. Mad Caper, thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on Christmas cruise? I booked, I think, out of LA as my first cruise. I watched so many cruise videos in this last week since booking. So what's interesting is not only have I done a Christmas cruise, I've done a Christmas cruise out of Los Angeles over the holiday. Listen, it's a great way to celebrate. I mean, it's not a traditional Christmas like you have at home, but that's what makes it fun. You don't have to cook. I mean, you can still bring presents on board, but you don't have. It's a little less, what's the word? Overwhelming. I don't know if that makes sense. A little easier. And so, but there's still decorations on the ship. There are still special events. If your cruise actually goes over Christmas Day, you can meet Santa Claus. There's gift exchanges, caroling. So you're not compromising on the experience. There'll still be special things happening on board the ship. Let's see here. Dan, greetings from the NCL Spirit, which was on Royal Caribbean. That's what I thought exactly when I saw that message. Jeff Birchmore, Wonder of the Seas in 6 days. When the shows opened up to book, I did. They showed up my calendar, went in later, and they were gone. How confident are you that they're gone? Sometimes the Royal Caribbean website can be very wonky. I guess my only answer to you, obviously, I'm going to assume that you can't book them anymore. If you went to go book the shows again, they'll say sold out or something like that. Couple things. One, if you booked it, and you should have gotten an email as well, right? Saying like when you book anything in the cruise planner, like, hey Jeff, you booked this. If you have that, stands to reason you probably do have it booked. If you didn't get it, maybe you didn't. Maybe you went through all the way up to the last stage and didn't actually do that. I'm not sure. One other thing you could do, Jeff, is if you actually go to the event, like you click on, you're on Wonder. If you go to the effectors like list, even though it says sold out, click on effectors. You might see a little thing like you've already booked this on this date or something like that. Might be another indication that's the case. Megan Hayes from MEI Travel. Hello, Megan. Do not go back to the other microphone. Please don't. See? Just saying. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate you. Next question is from Angela. Wants to know, have I ever been to the Pirate Museum on St. Thomas? I have not. I've heard very good things about it, but I personally have not gone there. So I'm not sure it's an all-day thing, Angela. Maybe you love pirates and you could spend all day there. I think it's more of we went to the Pirate Museum and then we went to somewhere else. Like Pirate Museum and then the beach. Might be a good combination right there. Let's see here. Dave Zander. Dave, thank you for the super chat. First cruise ever this October on Wonder This Is. We have an unlimited dining package. Can we reserve any specialty restaurants before getting on board, app or web? No, you have to wait till you get on board the ship. Unless you're staying in a suite, then your concierge can book it for you about the week beforehand. But otherwise, just get on board the ship and you're good to go. Jules, thank you for the super chat. Jules, I don't see a message from you. You see like a ton of super chats waiting for me, but I don't see a message from you, Jules. So if I miss it, please feel free to type a super chat in chat and I'll read it. Michael K, thank you for the super chat. Day beds and cabanas for Coco Key are sold out for our cruise in July. Any chance Royal Caribbean holds some for release when the cruise embarks? Maybe waitlist. Waitlist, definitely. But hold them back? Probably not. And listen, I mean, I like cabanas, but don't feel like if you can't get one, Michael, you're going to have a terrible day. You're really like, you're missing out or anything like that. People do cancel all the time. And if someone does cancel, it immediately goes back up there. So it's worth checking back. But yes, theoretically, Michael, if you get on board the ship, you checked every day up till your cruise never became available again. You could go, and you can do this. I've done this before, I think successfully. Go to the shore excursion desk and ask to be put on a wait list. People do cancel all the time for all sorts of reasons. So, Vinny, should I be afraid to sail in the Caribbean in the winter? Absolutely not. No, no, absolutely not. Michael H, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! Thanks to you and your team for all the hard work. We cruised Alaska on Ovation a couple weeks. The robot started talking again. We cruised Alaska on Ovation a couple weeks ago for our first cruise. We were very prepared from the videos, blog posts, etc. We're hooked and already booked for our next. I am so glad to hear that. That is fantastic. Love Alaska. I'm not sure if you booked another Alaska cruise or you booked a different cruise, but man, I really love hearing that the articles, the videos, all this stuff actually helps. Like it makes your cruise better. Love hearing that. That is wonderful. Thank you. Andy Hall. Andy, thank you for the super chat. What type of insurance should I get just for basic cancellation? What company should I use? So the policies are all different, Andy. And I can't give you a recommendation because it's kind of like asking me, what car insurance should I get? What kind of policy, like what coverages do you want? I understand what you're saying, you want basic cancellation, but there are a number of them that are out there. My advice to you, Andy, if I don't have one specifically to recommend to you, but I would recommend you go to a website like insuremytrip.com. I don't have any relationship with them at all, but if you go there and they can provide you a number of different plans across different companies. You can compare and contrast to see. The important thing you want to know, because when you say basic cancellation, that is a loaded statement. It means more than you think it means. As in, when does it kick in and when does it activate? Because there are only certain scenarios that you can cancel. As an example, and this is a very basic one, there are two types of plans. There's regular travel insurance, and then there's cancel for any reason. Cancel for any reason is as it sounds, cancel for any reason, it'll kick in. The problem is it only covers 75%, but it allows you a lot more flexibility. So anyway, my point is that there's a lot of different policies out there. InsureMyTrip.com is a good resource. There's other websites that are like that. So if you find another one, that's totally fine, in which you can compare and contrast travel insurance options. Susan Westfall again. See, this is how nice Susan is. Another super chat. Thank you, Susan. You are too nice. Well, it's a real pleasure, honestly. I had a really nice time talking to Susan. In fact, when I was Susan went to go, I forgot what Susan went to go do, take a photo or do something. Anyway, we were in Garengio, and I was sitting next to her sister, and we had a nice conversation. I mean, yeah, we were making fun of Susan, but besides that, we had a nice time just kind of hanging out. I mean, that's the best part about cruising. Because let's face it, and no offense to you, Susan, if we never knew each other from cruising and we saw each other in a hotel, I might have said hello to you in an elevator, and that's it. It just doesn't, the kind of, I don't want to say camaraderie, but the kind of interactions that you get on a cruise ship are fundamentally different in a good way than anywhere on land that I've ever been. And I think it's much more friendly and inviting. And because of cruising, I've gotten to know Susan. So yeah, love that. Dan with the super chat. Dan, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you and your content. Makes being an agent and relaying accurate and exciting information to clients so much better. There you go. That's all I can ask for. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Infinite Elevator Music. What a great name. I'm going on Harmony of the Seas this year, and I'll be taking my college courses. Is the internet reliable? Reliable enough to do your work on the internet, provided that you're okay with occasional outages or downs, like the internet goes down for a little bit. Like you've got a week cruise. At some point, you need to do the internet for certain functions. That's fine. But if you have a course, like a live course or something you have to present, I wouldn't rely on that. You can see it. There's enough of my live broadcast that you can watch back to realize why that's the case. It's just satellite internet. It's got a whole lot better than it used to be. In fact, it's way better than it used to be, but it is still not as reliable as land based internet by virtue of the fact that it is satellite internet. So, is it good enough to do your coursework if all you need is an internet connection in order to, to obviously check in, do some things, and upload, download, but not live, not real time, not mission critical at this time on this day? It must work or I fail. As long as it's not that, then you're good to go. Jonathan Pace. Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Here's $5 for your new microphone. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Now, you guys have, trust me, you guys have paid for this microphone before. So even just in last week. So thank you very much, Jonathan. Appreciate you. Ray P. Thank you for the super chat. By the way, Jonathan, I'm not giving you $5 back. Thank you. Ray P. Thank you for the super chat. Ray says, transatlantic on Symphony in a few months. Which direction is kinder on the body? West to east or east to west? Most people who take transatlantics a lot will tell you they prefer the let me get my direction correctly here. They prefer the eastbound. No, sorry, the westbound. They fly to Europe and then cruise home. That is usually the case. And there's the reason why, number one, you only fly in the direction you're excited for. Yay, cruise, as opposed to like, oh, cruise is over, we're gonna fly home still. And number two, on your westbound route, you gain an hour every day of your cruise in order to readjust to the time zones. So it seems like you're getting more out of your cruise. When you cruise eastbound, you lose an hour every day. And I think that's why most people say that. Don Goldstein, who's in our chat, and Josh Carruthers, who's in our chat, can confirm that for me. But I believe that's what they told me many times. Two Train Productions. What cruise ships can you recommend that is doing cruises from New Jersey this fall? Oasis or Liberty of the Seas are great. Scary. Love the sarcasm. Your live streams are honestly the best way to enjoy cruising in between cruises. Thank you for your generosity. I try not to be too over the top with sarcasm. I hope it's very clear that we're having a good time about this. So thank you. Oh, you answered my question already. Well, thank you, Jules. I appreciate it. Once again, thank you for your generosity. Raw Dog 88 says, what are the best excursions to St. Thomas? I'm not seeing much. Megan's Bay. Megan, if you've never been there before, Megan's Bay, you can take a taxi, you can book something on your own. But yeah. Fly River. I'm just gonna keep reading comments. People say I did a nice job with the new mic. As a former professional audio professional, we hear you fine. We don't see the mic. That is how it's supposed to be. Team shotgun mic. And by the way, Mike Newell, who made the comment, they were just teasing me because I know Mike for a really long time. Tai Wu Lee coming in with the super chat. Thank you, Tai Wu. Appreciate you. I don't see a message from you, Tai Wu, but as always, my friend, thank you. We get a drink of water here. And where are we on time? We got a couple more minutes. We're good. Everything's fine. Dan's got some good advice here for travel insurance. Yeah, talk with your travel agent about insurance. It's like recommendations, besides insuremytrip.com, personal recommendations. When you ask somebody who's used their travel insurance and they liked it or not liked it, that's important to know as well. Let's see. Melissa wants to know, what is my favorite thing to take advantage of on a quiet ship if you stay on board on a port day? The pool or hot tub or both. By far the best thing because it's far more enjoyable when there's less people. So 100%. Do I work for Royal Caribbean? I do not work for Royal Caribbean at all. No affiliation with them whatsoever. Rogue Supercars. How can I find what group cruises you do? RoyalCaribbeanblog.com/events. RoyalCaribbeanblog.com/events. Cheapest month to cruise Royal Caribbean. It varies. The pricing is so all over the place. Generally speaking, if I had to tell you, on average, the months of January and September tend to be the cheapest months overall. Nice. Let's see here. Angela, our cruise in September is on Wonder of the Seas with 11 family members, 4 generations. Question: Is it easier to connect our reservations so we can get a show, especially restaurant reservations together? Yes. If you can link your reservations, the reason why it's easier, Angela, is because whoever's making the reservations can see everybody else's reservation to book those things, right? Not a, if you don't do it, Angela, far from impossible or difficult by any means. I've done it many, 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 many times without doing that. But the advantage of linking your reservations together is that when one person goes in to book it, you can book it for everybody else as well. So that is a nice benefit to that. So is it easier? Yes, by definition, I think it is. But don't take that as like if you don't do it, you're in trouble. Or if anybody here is traveling with family or friends and your reservations aren't linked together, uh, that's not a problem. I would argue you should probably do it anyway. But yeah. All right, there we go. Westbound is easier. There you go. I had to think about it, Don, because I'm remembering, well, which way do you like flying? And yeah, glad it. See, I am paying attention when we talk at the bar over drinks, hypothetically. I am listening to everything, most things you're saying. Stephanie, any idea when your 2025 group cruises are coming out? I'm getting married in March 2024, so clearly that one's out. Usually I wait for the new itineraries to come out. There are some for 25, but generally we look for later in the year. I'm not arguing we wouldn't, but there isn't a set time. No, it's kind of like I know when I'll see it kind of situation. And usually, Stephanie, in the many, many, many months leading up to that point, Tony Diaz and Josh Carruthers annoy me to death about booking another one, so I'm forced to book one. Fear not, if you come into these chats, you'll know because they will be hounding me for 2025 group cruises. Can you film anywhere on a roller coaster cruise ship in public places, or are there rules? I believe you can generally film anywhere. I know in Adventure Ocean you can't film. But other than that, I mean, obviously be respectful of the people who may not want to be on camera, but otherwise you're good. Lisa, thank you for the super chat. Traveling on Ovation of the Seas out of Sydney, Australia in January 2024. First cruise in a long time. Any advice about hotels near the port? So I do not have any recommendations for hotels in Sydney. If there are any other Aussies in the chat, oi, 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 please feel free to type some recommendations for Lisa in the chat for good hotels in Sydney to stay at. I wish my good friends down under were in here, Robert Jaworski or Pippa from Ocean Time on YouTube. They are my go-to. Whenever I have a question about Australia, I go to them to ask the question because they know it because they live down there. Thank you for the generosity. Hopefully, someone in the chat can answer that for us. MJ gave me a super chat, but 11 TRY. What the heck does that mean? like it's not the message. Here's Lisa's again. Like $4.99 USD, right? Okay, cool. 11 TRY. For all I know, this is like 10 cents in whatever currency this is. But thanks, MJ. Or it could be $1 million. Maybe that's what it is. I'm gonna assume it's $1 million. Thank you, MJ. Appreciate it. Here it is. Turkish lira. Oh God, it's worth 2 cents. Or is that Italian lira that's worth like? Anyway, thank you. It's off that counts, but thank you. It's definitely not $1 million though. Shane is sailing on Symphony of the Seas in June. Why do we have to pay so much extra for things like drinks and internet? Why so overpriced? It's a good question. It's not overpriced because I'm going to tell you this, Shane. If you were to ask people in the chat, they would say, so there's going to be a lot of people who say, I don't drink or I don't use the internet or both. So Royal Caribbean prices it in a way that allows it to be more modular, meaning you pay to get on the cruise ship and then you decide if you want to drink, there are drinks. If there's internet to purchase, but it's up to you to decide to pay for it because anything that's included in the cruise price, you're paying for it. Let's face it, right? If you go to a premium cruise line or a luxury cruise line that includes Wi-Fi, drinks, even shore excursions, some of the luxury lines, guess what? The price of that cruise is way higher than Royal Caribbean because you're paying for it. So Royal Caribbean's philosophy, whether you like it or not, that's a story, is to be a little more modular, to say, all right, Shane, if you want those things, you can purchase them and you can pay for them and get a package or pay as you go. But while you may want drinks and internet included in your cruise fare, there's a lot of other people who may not. And that's why, from a marketing standpoint, they go about it that way. It's pretty common among the mass market cruise lines, whether you're talking about Norwegian, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, obviously. Now you might say, well, Norwegian includes it in their, free whatever it is. I mean, they're technically including it in the sense that it's a booking promo, but the actual cruise fare doesn't include it, if that makes sense. Anyway, I digress. My point is that it's more modular that way. So you have a lower price to get in, but but it allows you to have a little more flexibility because maybe you want it, maybe you don't, and that's the approach that's worked for Royal Caribbean. So I wouldn't say it's overpriced. It's just an option for you to choose. Angela, you are very welcome. Luis Torres is here. Luis, are you always from Alabama, Luis? I don't think so. I thought you were from like New York or something. But good to see you here, Luis. Welcome. Let's see here. We are running out of time here. We're right at our hour mark already. Holy moly, this flew by. I was thinking, oh man, Memorial Day, it'll be like no one will come into the chat. It'll be me and Tony Diaz, and who wants that? But hey, this worked out pretty well. Although Tony is still here. We have time for a couple more questions, then we're going to head on out of here. Stephanie wants to know, do you have to sign teens up for the social, or do they come and go? They come and they go. We need to sign up for them so they're just registered within the thing so they know that it's there. But yeah. Jim Bob, can we register our own credit card per one CPAS? So 3 people register each their own card. Yes. When you do the online check-in, it gives you that option. So yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, I guess I'm not retiring. I thought I was this close to $1 million. I guess I got to work again. See what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Thank you, Tony, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Well, Neil, this is interesting, and this is I wish we had more time to kind of go over all this. The price is still high. It's not like the cruise fare is cheap. I mean, there are deals that are out there. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, a cruise value, especially when you consider, let's forget everything else that costs extra. Just forget the drinks and short and all that other stuff. You're paying a rate and you're getting lodging, so hotel room, call it that, food and entertainment. Now, those 3 things alone, never mind the fact that you're being magically whisked away to, Cozumel or Nassau or wherever, right? We can't put a dollar value on that. But I sure as heck fire can put dollar value on your hotel, your food, and your entertainment. And I guarantee you, maybe I shouldn't say guarantee, because I'm sure someone can figure out a Motel 6 in Valdosta, Georgia, that and you go to Chick-fil-A and probably eat for cheaper. Okay, that's fair. But on average, especially if you're aiming for a little bit higher than Chick-fil-A, and Motel 6 in Valdosta, you're gonna get a great value for entertainment, food, and hotel for the duration of your cruise, right? That's what cruising is about. And I do think it's a good value. Cheap and good value are not necessarily the same thing. And there are cheap cruises out there. Look in January. If you're looking for a cheap cruise, Neil, January, man, they're like $99 fares quite often. So just something to keep in mind. It's a good conversation. Something fun to talk about, quite frankly. Thank you for not screaming into the microphone. You are very welcome. Let's see here. Ooh, Andrew probably booked a guaranteed cabin, wants to know when will they assign the cabin. Really, at any point up to the day of your sailing, probably before then, but there is no set time, Andrew. There is no like, oh, X amount of days before your cruise, you'll get the cabin assigned. So it'd be anytime before that. And we have time for one more question today. I see this question from Andrew here. Oh, my wishing flower. This is a good question. I think people want to know this question as well. Will the price for Icon of the Seas ever go down? Ever is the key word here. And the answer is yes. But ever infers that anytime between now and the next 20 years, of course, it'll go down. Here's the thing. I'm going to answer your question now less facetiously. Icon is the newest ship in the fleet. It's going to be the newest ship in the fleet. When you go on a new ship, Icon, Odyssey, Wonder, those 3 ships especially, you're paying a premium for being on the newest ship. Now, prices fluctuate all the time, but as Icon gets out there and people start sailing on her, and especially when Icon 2 and Utopia and Icon 3 come out, that helps. Demand for Icon will lessen, maybe not a lot, but it will go down a little bit. Now, will Icon ever be like, if you look at the price of Mariner of the Seas, you look at the price of Icon today, when will Icon become Mariner's price? In about 20 years, when she's about as old as Mariner. I mean, that's the reality of cruising. But newer ships command a higher price, but eventually, over time, the prices do tend to get lower as they age out a little bit more. So the answer is, will they ever go down? Yes, but probably not this year by any means. I mean, when it's the new ship, when it's the new hotness, yes, too many other people booking cruises. Valdosta is lovely this time of year. They actually have a very nice Chick-fil-A in Valdosta. I've been to that one. It's not bad. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us here. Before we get going, I want to say thank you to all of our super chatters. Thank you, Tony Diaz. Thank you, MJ. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Taiwu. Thank you, Scary. Ray P. Thank you, Jonathan Pace. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Susan Westfall. Thank you, Andy Hall. Thank you for your very first super chat. Michael H. Thank you for your very first super chat. Michael K. Thank you for your very first super chat. Jules, thank you. Dave Zander, thank you. Jeff Birchmore, thank you for your very first super chat. Mad Capper, thank you. Chris Jones, thank you. Jason Dawson, thank you. Ann Whipple, thank you. Justin Martinez, thank you. JP, thank you. Daniel Weiss, thank you for your very first super chat. Mike Newell, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Byron, thanks for the super chat. Hawker Tech, thank you. James S, thank you. Susan Westfall, thank you. Jay Maimon, thank you for your very first super chat. Jason Dawson, thank you. Jonathan, thank you. Lance Moran, thank you. Michael O'Brien, thank you. Fatty McDonough, thank you. Jalen, thank you again for the super chat. Hawker Tech, thank you. Allison Edens, thank you for your very first super chat. Dave O, thank you. Jeff Hansen, thank you. Mono8080, thank you. Leah, thank you for the super chat, your very first one. Leor, thank you. Fishing with Megan, thank you. William, Mom, thank you. Dylan, thank you. Byron Pietro, thank you for your very first super chat. Alex Burnham, thank you for the super chat. Teresa, thank you. Alex Burnham, thank you again for the super chat. Josh Crothers, thank you. Michael Bond, thank you. Mark Sexton, thank you for the super chat. Alex L, thank you. Arthea, thank you. Z is me, thank you. Desiree, thank you. And Ed Vira, thank you. And thank you to everybody for hanging out here on this Monday. Really appreciate each and every one of you being here. We'll be live again next Monday right here on YouTube. Until then, have a great night, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun, like book another Royal Caribbean cruise. We'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.